the other night we made a nice dinner, table nice. That was of that moment. Now, if we're using it through the day, you're going to diminish your control over time. I hate even saying that because I'm preachy and judgy. It's not my intent at all. What happens when alcohol starts to prevent us from feeling the things we need to feel. And the final one which is movement. I dug out my, which I haven't used in forever, because I just wanted to get a sense of how much movement am I really getting. Now, here's just an example. This is all about you can regain in your life that's from neuroscience perspective. So yesterday, I ran on the treadmill, I think like just a little over 4 miles. And up and down the stairs doing laundry. And then, I sat and did for the rest of the day. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I ran this morning, surely I'm good. At 6:30, like 800 steps in. How is that possible? I ran 4 freaking miles. So just to get like a gut check on how little movement or this reality is really important. And I'm not saying you have to start running for me. Running is my happy place. You may think, oh holy hell, do your thing. But just only about movement and getting your hay. Like one of the ways I do it sometimes is I'm a huge fan of putting on my Megan tray list and dig a freaking fool in the kitchen until no matter how you do it, need to be intentional about how that we're in right now. Things that y'all are doing to get moving into endorphins. Really easy just to Netflix it out.
Well, I can talk. It's probably my turn.
Yeah.
So one of the things I actually have at gym is doing Zoom workouts with the trainers. So, well, weights, you can do most of the things days. So I try to hop on a few times a week and then do a lot of cardio. I don't wear the fit. I have no idea how many steps I'm actually getting, but I know it's multiple workout programs. So it's been good though. I always feel so much better moving and doing something and just being, other than it makes me really
Agreed. So hungry. Oh yeah, I ran 4 miles this morning. I love that. And that's just being intentional and looking for ways to work it in. Who else has some stuff that you're doing?
I'm kind of a nature person, being outside. I have dogs that I want to take walk benefits of that. And I just want the sun is shining. I don't care what the temperature is. I want to be outside.
Same. I have a woods beside my neighborhood lab. I always have taken more intentional and nested more so than them right now. Yeah. Have you noticed in your media feed, which I've tried not to do as much either, 10 puppy my friend group in the last week? 10 people they're like, I might as well just get a puppy if I'm going to be, and that's going to get you out. Does anybody else notice? Yeah, crazy. I'm thinking, like, I know it's fun right now, but this once is all it is. Anybody else have example things that they're doing to get more movement in? It says I actually scheduled a 2-minute walking session sessions a couple of times a day to make sure I can make time to get up and move. My colleagues were like, what the heck? At first, and now they're starting, we've even started doing walking meetings. Oh, I love that. Two things I love about. One is, and this is another thing that I hope we carry forward as a result of this season, is we're seeing movement, necessary and intentional part of our life. Guilt and shame of getting before whatever from an extra get to your 5 a.m. Orange Theory class out kind of thing. We're seeing move necessary part of our lives. That's the way it always should and could, right? So to use it as a brain break is brilliant. The second thing that I love about it is that you've been the catalyst people now doing that too. So being it's working with for us and with us is a great aspect of humanity as well, because somebody may not, you've given them permission and fitting from that. And really me says I try to go out and do 2 short walks a day in the morning and at lunchtime. I love that too, because you do it in the morning or wait until night, it doesn't give me the benefit in the middle of the day. So Friday last Zoom call, mid-morning, things that happened on that Zoom call pissed me shit mood, pardon my French this morning. And I just was like, ah. And so I thought, okay, I felt trapped with let me just be logical about what I'm frustrated more about me than it is about them. Now I got to get rid of, I had felt like I had toxins in my body from being frustrated. And I thought, I'm just going to go walk. And I walked for 10 minutes. I came back, different person. And so I love the ability for us to now be more intentional about what am I feeling? What can I do about it? A 10-minute walk might be of both of those that you shared it. So as we go back, oh, we have no one here. I do IT support, so I'm muting my phone after workout weekend. Otherwise, it's very easy to answer support calls at night and during the weekend. Preach, girl, preach. I worked from home for decades, and so that aspect of things isn't new to me. And if you have a need to be better about this in general, boundaries, just because you're at home you all the time doesn't working all the time. How is everybody life boundaries in this season? Anybody else have some examples of what you're doing? It's so important. I hear so many people that haven't worked from home before saying, how do you know when to stop? I'm like, well, your schedule's still your schedule. How's that feeling for everybody else?
I think that is probably the number one most thing that my teams are dealing with, because they're trying to be flexible to accommodate having little kids at home or whatever. But that means that they've been allowing the workday to bleed into 7, 8, 9, 11 p.m. I'm like, you can email me whenever you want to, but I'm not going to respond at 11 p.m. That's just unrealistic. So I think it's okay to be flexible. You have to have a realistic expectation of what everybody else around you is doing also. It's a kind of a common respect thing to me.
I love it. Isn't it interesting how we're getting glimpses into everybody's whole lives now? It's been forced upon us. You're realizing that, this whole idea of parenting while working has always been difficult. Now it's just in everybody's faces, literally on Zoom calls. And so putting up some expectations, especially if you're the manager or the leader, is really important right now. You may be working different hours, but the same number of hours. So in our family, I'm on the 5 a.m. If I go to bed at 9, so I'm first shift. And 22, they want their own space too, so they get up 3 p.m. and they're up till 3 a.m. And one perspective in the old way of doing things, I would have been like, you can't do that. Now I'm like, this way, because they have their own space. I have my own space. The crossover for lunch, I call dinner. Yes. Is it working for us? And so finding ways that schedules and still meet the kids done, I think is a great way to stability without expecting it all the time. On your Outlook or email, you can work offline or set your emails so that they only go at a certain time. So if you want to be on a schedule like my kids are, where you're, helping with the kids during the day and then emails at night, you can program them so they don't till the next morning. So others on they need to respond in convenient hours. These are things that is working really well for them. I have to tell this funny story now that I shared our schedule. One day last week, because I'd gone to bed. I'm just kind of where I'm right now. 30 at the same time, my 18-year-old to borrow my laptop. And so she's on FaceTime with a friend, chatting in my room at 3:30 in the morning. And my son comes in because he hears us talking. We sit in my bedroom with her FaceTime friend and my son and I from 3:30 to 4 in the morning, like it was, 6 p.m. All of our schedules, but it wasn't a bad thing. It was like shifts these days, but I was just like, Sarah says it's for some of my cooking colleagues to finally figure out how to use the email tools more effectively, like setting email work hours. Yeah, can lead to some really great innovation. That would be helpful and control.
I mean, I think for me, it's been just keeping some type of schedule. And especially as the kids, have to start e-learning again, we just need to maintain some type of schedule so we have some type of routines happening in the house and everyone's not sleeping in until.
Yeah. And so we're all parents now, right? So many of us didn't want to be a homeschool parent. Remember when we say homeschool, home is still first. So feelings first, get the work done second, because our kids are going through grief and loss in a pretty significant way. When you think about us as adults, our lives are really big. We've had lots of experiences. There's lots of lives. Our children's lives, their lives are small. Lives are, their family, their friends. That's really been their lives. Many of their lives have been cut off. And if you think about not having how to deal with that, and parents and as human able to give them some feelings and this is important too. My daughter, once she realized that her senior year is going to be no prom, there's going to be no graduation, once that was gone, I didn't leave her room for a couple of days. And I was really, heart was aching. I was praying incessantly and just aching for her. And there was the part of him, I got to go fix it. I got to go make sure moving. This is what's important. And I thought, you know what? If I'm treating this as grief, she had a huge one of us, really, because we're small and this has been such a thing she's looking forward to. I let it go. And I gave her those couple of days, her blinds shut, and, making things whatever whenever she needed it. But she, a couple days later, was working herself through it, trying to have conversations. But our kids are really struggling too, but they don't always know about it. So while school is important, I also want us a little grace and mercy, and they're gonna unless they have to. So I'm pretty sure it's not going to impact their overall life trajectory if things don't go exceptionally well in this last part of school.
I totally agree. I think the more interesting part is that we sat down and wrote it together what our schedule was going to be. Like they had a store. My husband's doing Lego. We're trying to add a lot of fun into this, and then also teach them some things really learned from school.
Amen. The collaborative aspect of no better time to pull a whiteboard into the kitchen.
No, that's what we do.
Actually wrote I turned into training module, parents of kids with attention. How we got through our was in school is we had a weekly white week. Who needs to prepare? What's your part in it? How can we support you? He's so helpful that we continue to do it far past even him graduating. I love that. Melody said, agree, my office is using absolutely not complaining face-to-face meetings probably we used to. All right, anything your tips are a big part of these sessions that Angie's creating. Anybody else have anything or anything that they're struggling to crowdsource some thoughts and support from this morning?
I have a question. When we spoke about using our gifts and talents, how can we get younger people to find what their gift and talent is? How can we get them teach them the value of serving and the goodness and the good feeling and how it benefits you? How can we help cultivate that in people like, say, 17 to 25?
I think you're telling your story is always the best way to do it. We make decisions on emotion, we validate them on facts. And so when we tell stories about ourselves, it connects us emotionally to people in the information. So the more we can share our own stories and how it's serving us, we have a much better opportunity to have them hear than if you say, this is what you need to do, and here's an article. And trust me, I laugh saying that because that's what I used to do. It's like, oh God, here comes mom with an article. Because I thought it had to be externally, validated. And what I found to be is modeling it and telling your story is far more powerful for them than telling them what they should or could do. My daughter is an artist, and so she's processing a lot of her feelings. I quickly gathered in the cabinets all of the old art supplies that have been put away, and I tried not to be too overt about it because she's 18 and she's a girl, so if it's my idea, it's not a great idea always. So I just laid them out where they could be found easily. and then I wake up in the morning and find that there's paints all over her room, and I don't freak out about that anymore either. I'm like, that's fine, there's paint in your room, it's fine. But I think to answer your question, sharing your story is important, and just telling exactly like you just did. Say, hey, here's something that I found to be really helpful. And remember that if they're 16, 17, 18, anybody that's still really close to school age, they're very indoctrinated into the epitome of the industrial model. Raise your hand and wait to be spoken to. My gifts aren't that important. My grades are more important. So you got to unwind a little about what they've been accustomed to really get them there. You think about how often, especially like the artists and the creatives in our world have been told, get a real job. don't even get me started on that. We don't have time for me to rant about it for another hour, but allowing them to see that their creativity and whatever it is that they're passionate about and love to do, this is a great opportunity to really just fuel the flame of that in whatever ways that they can. I think that would be a beautiful outcome of that. Yeah. All right. Anybody else? This is fun. All right. Well, I'd love to stay connected, y'all. I have an online community called the Badass Women's Council .community. If you want to go there, if you want to, we do some more chats like this as well. But I'd love to support you and stay connected in any way that I can.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Rebecca,
Angie,
thanks so
what do you got?
much for being on. Are there any last questions before we close out the session today? We've got some thank yous. Very valuable stuff. A great way to start the week off, right?
Good, good.
Yeah. Any final questions?
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Have a great week.
Thank you.
See ya.
All right, everyone, have a good day. And if you've signed up for other mini clinics, we're excited to see you on those as well. If you want to go and take another look at some of the mini clinics that we're doing, you can go directly to our website at www.vipcenter.works. And if you'll do the /mini, then you will see the list of all of the current workshops and sessions, mini clinics that we're doing. And also, you can also learn about deferred memberships in accordance with our COVID-19 mandates. We have done some creative things to create memberships for women to just stay connected in really powerful ways. So you can find all of that information on our website as well. All right, ladies, we will see you next time around at one of our next mini clinics. Have a great day.